Good evening. Welcome to the ShadowTrader Video Weekly for Sunday, July 15th, 2007. I had to put that little bit of fanfare in the beginning of this video in celebration of the S&P 500 making it, doing it in the park, doing it after dark, woo, Rock Creek Park, right? New records. Look at the monthly back here, right? This is the peak I was looking at. Look, feast your eyes on this little box right here, right? I move up and down like this. You look over here. See the high? Zoop. 1552.87 right there. See that? That was way back in the bubble, right? When everything was going crazy. Well, the S&P did it again. We're now over that level. We went as high as 1555.10. So new all-time high for the S&P this particular week. Dow Jones Industrial Average very close to the 14 level now. We made a high of 932. The chair thrower, as I call him, he said Dow 14,000. Hey, I got to give it up to the guy. He said it. Interestingly enough, the NASDAQ Composite is actually breaking out, or was breaking out ahead, and is obviously not in the clear. Obviously in the monthlies, I mean, the area here was at 5,000 NASDAQ, so we're not even close. But what's interesting about this breakout that happened this week and why I think it's sustainable is that now, as per the charts we just went through, right, all three of them are in sync. There's no more lagging where in past videos over the last couple of years, whatever, we'd say, oh, market's a little bit out of sync here, meaning like, yes, we got a little bit of a bull run happening, for instance, in the Dow, but it's not being mirrored in the S&P, or the NASDAQ is moving ahead now, but the other ones are lagging. There was constantly this push and pull of sector rotation, right? Well, now we're seeing everything in sync. Russell, I think, is possibly, excuse me, going to be a play soon, because the Russell's the only one here that really needs to play catch-up, right? Look at the weekly right here, right? Look at the hammer. Excuse me, coming right up into it. Okay, so basically we have major breakout happening on all indices. So what you need to take away from this is that pretty much all pullbacks of strong stocks, good fundamentals, whatever, good charts are going to be buyable. Pullbacks are going to be buyable. Specific sectors that I think are of interest right now: insurance. Look at this pullback in insurance. And when I was scanning earlier, I seem to have been coming up with a lot of insurance stocks, and that kind of makes me work backwards and look at the chart, right? So I like the way insurance is hanging out here at the 20 MA. I really should flip this on so I can use the function keys. There we go, right? Possible trend here. This will probably tighten. Chemicals, which I call the sex, right? How's your sex life? S&P Chemicals, this is on fire. Whenever you see a index chart that looks like this, inside of here, you can pretty much buy any pullback. Just remember that. You can go in, look at chemical stocks, and find ones that are on a pullback. The chemical stocks generally follow the S&P 500, and with the SPX setting new records, right? Chemicals are probably going to go as well. Transports are confirming. That's another reason to be bullish out there, all you Dow theorists, right? Which I'm not really one of you. But, hey, whatever floats your boat, right? Dow breaking out to some new highs, and so is the transport index at the same time, so a little bit of a cup and handle there. And last but not least, it wouldn't be a ShadowTrader Video Weekly if we didn't talk about oils. Again, pretty much any pullback here is buyable. The crude situation is continuing to power higher. I was saying that it probably would once we broke over this $70 area, right? Look at this weekly, right? This was the resistant point here that I was talking about for a while in the video, and as soon as we cracked over that, I mentioned this in the broadcast, and then I mentioned it, I believe, in the video of that week when this happened, and lo and behold, right? Simple technical breakout, as all this action here in the $67 area was acting as a ceiling. As soon as you broke out of there, ascending triangle as well. So I think crude's going to here. Will this hurt earnings on down the road? Yeah, probably. I mean, for now, the market doesn't seem to care. There's just so much liquidity globally, and, money also here that's flowing out of the real estate sector into equities, it feels like, that it's just, for now, you want to stay with the trend, which is definitely up. All right, let's do some volume. Check out how the volume report is looking. Those of you that are just joining us for the first time, and a lot of you are through YouTube, And I'm very happy to have all the YouTubers here. So big shout out to everybody who's checking out my videos for the first time on YouTube. If you're checking it out for the first time, I need to explain what this is all about. This is the ShadowTrader overall volume matrix. Basically, I take the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. And then here, these are the same numbers you get on radio and television, right? And then over here, I show you the overall increase or decrease in percentage terms of overall volume on the New York Stock Exchange and on the NASDAQ. If the market goes up and the volume goes up as well, the market gets an A for accumulation. But if the opposite happens, where the market goes down and the volume still goes up, well, then the market gets a big fat D for distribution. That's right. Okay, so what we're noticing this week, we saw as the market was pulling back over the last couple of weeks, we saw an increase in D's and distribution days, and it seems like now the tide seems to have turned. We seem to have flipped it somewhat. We saw 2 accumulation days this week. Tuesday was relatively weak where volume did go up. But again, the market recovered so ridiculously well on Thursday that you have to give it to the bulls. I mean, basically, especially with the new all-time highs in the S&P. And I'm going to go back on the chart and show you something as well in a second. Another good thing about this little exercise is those of you that don't really watch the markets every day, and as I always say, some people's only experience with technical analysis and with analyzing the market in any way, shape, or form is just through the ShadowTrader video weekly, and for that I'm flattered. This gives you a nice bird's eye view from the top, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what happened in the markets, and obviously this Thursday it just can't be ignored. I mean, it just can't. I mean, you tack down 300 points in the Dow in that one day. The S&P went up almost 30, which is seriously almost unheard of. Almost unheard of. All right, one other thing I want to point out on the charts here before we get into some other stuff is the S&P this week. Basically, the main thing that I felt technically powered it higher was this right here. Bam, 1530. We were mentioning this area in the ShadowTrader Focus Report, ShadowTrader Pro Focus Report a number of times. And I was saying that, watch, if we can get over, you know, this 1530 is going to be really key. One of the things that I think made it happen for the market and just added fuel to the fire was simply notice the amount of times that we touched, right? And I always say this. Feels like a touch, a touch too much, right? A little bit of Bon Scott. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is the charm, right? As I always say, double top, yes. Triple top, maybe. Quadruple top, never. Never. There's no such thing, I don't think. Quadruple top, come on. When you knock on the door 4 times, on the 4th try, the door's going to open. Basically, that's what happened in the S&P right here. Knocked once, fell down. Knocked twice, knocked 3, and then all of a sudden, door opens. Bam. See ya. All right, let's look at some individual issues that I like this week. I'll throw you some bones for free. ADP, automatic data processing. Ooh. Oh, that chart is sexy. Look at that. Oh, and on a weekly, ay. Ooh, look at the hammer right there. Filled up the gap. I like it. Could go. I don't know. I like Man as well. I continue to talk about Man. This stock has been on the ShadowTrader Pro Focus Report for a while. Look at this consolidation. So tight. Illumina, another one. Nice daily, huh? India, Lima, Michael, November. Prudential. This one kind of weird, but this kind of chops the trend line here. But look at the weekly. I like this pullback here. Yeah, because I talked about the IUX earlier. Same pattern. PTMK, Pathmark Stores. Come on, this is beautiful. Look at this. Whoop. Nice, huh? Ascending triangle, anyone? And last but not least, for you that like to play the cheapies, remember, me, I never ride on teenage rims, right? Strictly Twinkies are better. But Chiquita, under 20, it is still a teenager, but not bad. Look at this weekly, nice. Look at this daily. Beautiful, right? Now, the main thing to be concerned with, earnings season is kicking off in high gear, okay? Coming up this week. Be very careful with any stocks that you look at, whether you heard about them here or you heard about them from your Uncle Charlie. It doesn't matter. Remember, you want to be in stocks ahead of their earnings report and more than likely be out of there before the reporting occurs. All right? On behalf of myself and the entire ShadowTrader team in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and of course, as always, all the good people in Chicago, Illinois at thinkorswim. Markets breaking out. Stay bullish. Shorting is difficult. Stay long. I wish you good trading and good night.